Hello and welcome to Scrib TV. I'm Samuel Layton and I'm joined by James Cartwright, and today we're going to be talking about James's favourite side,
the Baltimore Ravens.
So James, you're a Steelers fan, you know quite a lot about the Baltimore Ravens. They didn't really do much last season in terms of high performance. I think they started the season fairly strongly, then certainly dropped off towards the end, didn't make the playoffs, weren't really a threat of making the playoffs. What did you make of them? Obviously played them twice. How do you think that they did last year?
Well, the Ravens weren't actually that far away from making the playoffs last season. They were up neck and neck with the Steelers right up until that Christmas Day game, and they were brought it to the house. Kyle Juszczyk scored a late TD, and then the Steelers went back the other way, and Antonio Brown just managed to extend that arm, and that was the difference between them making the playoffs and not making the playoffs, because they ended up finishing 8-8, lost the last couple of games. But yeah, they weren't too far away. The thing I'll say about the Ravens is they didn't have a running game. Terrence West kind of came in through the back end of the season, causing danger there. From the wide receiver positions, Mike Wallace actually had a productive season after the first time since he's been at the Steelers, I would say. And so, not a bad side, but I think the Steelers might pull away from them this season. Yeah,
the Ravens are one of those teams, again, I think that they don't really have any star players. They don't have anyone that you turn around and say, wow, what a player that guy is.
No.
Obviously, Joe Flacco, very solid quarterback, got himself a ring, good player. Like I say, Mike Wallace became sort of a household name again in the NFL last season a little bit.
Yeah.
But like James said, no running game. I don't think they've really had a running game since Ray Rice. But they have added Danny Woodhead, who's obviously had a very good few years in the NFL already. Comes in as a bit of a veteran now. I remember him as a rookie in his Patriots days. What do you think he'll bring to the team?
There's another option there. I mean, Terrence West, as I said, is going to have another solid season. He's got two options there. He's not going to turn the franchise around. He's not going to bring the running game that you might expect. He's just another option.
Yeah, and I think one thing that Danny Woodhead does well, and he always has done, he does make those catches out of the backfield.
He does.
And he's not a particularly big guy as well, quite elusive. A bit like Darren Sproles type running back.
He is,
Probably not quite as good as Darren Sproles, but I think he's certainly someone who will make a little bit of a difference for you in games. Also, to go to the wide receiver position, a shock release, which shocked me, was that Jerry Maclin was released from the Kansas City Chiefs after being the most productive receiver. Ends up at the Ravens. What do you think? Do you think he could be a player that could make a few good grabs and get a few TDs for the Ravens?
Well, for me, he comes into that side. He could be the main guy at Baltimore, because they didn't really have anyone who was really stepping up. I know we've mentioned a couple of names there.
Was it Perryman or something as well?
Rashad Perryman is a solid player, but is he a guy who's going to be your main guy, going to be picking up yards all the time? Evidently not, because he's not stepped up massively so far. He's all right, but he's not like he's going to be the go-to guy.
Yeah.
And that's what Macklin can do, and he's done that at a number of sides.
Yeah, he was at the Eagles. He was at before.
Eagles, yes,
and then obviously at Kansas City. And yeah, I think the Ravens have, for me, I think they've been in a rebuilding phase, which I think a lot of people probably won't realise, because they've managed to do it quite solidly in comparison to the other teams in their division, such as the Browns, who've been a bit of a laughing stock in the way they've been rebuilding. But yeah, I think when they lose, they had a lot of good receivers. And they had Derek Mason, who retired, and then obviously they had Torrey Smith, who's become a bit of a journeyman now.
Anquan
Boldin, yeah. And I think that they did have these players, and obviously since for a few years now, they've sort of been a bit of a rebuilding team. Defensively, they lose Elvis Dumerville. Don't think that's a massive issue for them. I don't think he was as good as he was previously. They've got Marlon Humphrey coming in as the rookie cornerback. Also bringing in Brandon Carr, cornerback position, from the Dallas Cowboys, who I think that position's massively improved for the Ravens.
Yeah, and they also signed up Ladarius Webb to a new deal, I believe. I'm researching before I came in. So he's another solid player who's been there for many seasons now.
Yeah, and is it CJ Mosley, the linebacker, as well? Is he still there?
I can't quite remember that one, but CJ Mosley, of course, is another solid player. We can please comment if he's not there.
Yeah,
fill us in.
Yeah, he's one of the players. I think defensively the Ravens aren't too bad. I don't think they'll make the playoffs. I don't think they'll be a weak team. What do you think of them?
All depends on the games against the Steelers, as it is every season. That's what I'll say about the Ravens.
Yeah, so they had the 7th ranked defence last year. Don't think it's going to go too bad, too southward from that. So
no.
Yeah, I think the Ravens. If you're a Ravens fan, please let us know what you think. They're one of those teams again where they aren't too bad, but they don't really have anyone. I think they're out there making a lot of noise other than the players we've mentioned. Really, no one on the defensive side of the ball jumps out at me other than the acquisitions they've made. But obviously, there will be players there. Please let us know. Feel free to comment. Do like the videos, even though we don't know any of your players. Make sure you subscribe. Follow us at squib_TV on Twitter. And thank you for watching.
It's a touchdown.